changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration. It's Thoughtful Thursday, and this is the day that I share a story that made me stop and think, that gave me a new perspective. This story comes from that book that I talk about a lot, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Say Goodbye to Stress. I think I keep turning to that book for podcast ideas because I'm in the middle of getting 3 books to the printer this month, all books that are going on sale in a 4-week period this fall for the holiday season, which is our biggest time of the year for book sales. So every summer, I need my Say Goodbye to Stress book to get me through my Christmas productions. This story is called All You Can Do, and in it, Beth Arvin presents an idea that I haven't seen before in any other Chicken Soup for the Soul story, and I really love this idea. So Beth opens her story, and we hear her saying on the phone, "I'm sorry, that's all the money I can send right now. I will pay more when I can." And she's talking to a debt collector. And then she hangs up and she breaks down in tears. So here's how she got into this predicament. 3 months earlier, Beth had been stopped in traffic when a young woman drove into the back of her car, and she hit her hard. And Beth was pushed forward into the steering wheel, and she suffered 2 badly sprained ankles, a very swollen knee, and then, most importantly, some spinal injuries and a concussion that left her mind cloudy for weeks. Beth was self-employed in a job that required physical strength and being on her feet all day, so she was unable to work for a while. Unfortunately, she was a single mother with a child in college, and she had no safety net, no disability insurance, and no employer who would carry her. She would get some kind of financial settlement from the accident eventually, but that would take a long time, and it wouldn't pay her bills right now. She still had to pay for rent and utilities and tuition, and she had to pay down that credit card bill. Her savings were gone quickly. So this was not an irresponsible person who was living large. Beth was just experiencing a cash flow problem. She would get that financial settlement from the insurance company, but it would take a while. I know in my own case, after I was rear-ended in my car and I suffered a spinal cord injury and a loss of income, it took a couple of years before I got the settlement from the other driver's insurance company, and that was even though they said from day one that they knew they were responsible. So poor Beth was struggling financially and emotionally and physically too. And then things got worse. Her older sister was diagnosed with cancer, and it was terminal. She didn't have long to live. Beth was crushed. She prayed to God, and she asked how she was supposed to bear this on top of everything else. And the answer she heard was this: "Have you done your best?" And Beth thought about it. Yes, she decided. She was doing her best. She was working limited hours, but it was as much as she could handle with her injuries. She had cut her spending as much as she could. She was diligent about her physical therapy, and she was supporting and comforting her sister, which was all she could do for her. So once Beth had that answer, that she was truly doing the best she could, everything changed for her. She was at peace. There was nothing more she could do. And that was the solution. And I really like that. It's something I hadn't thought of before. If you were doing everything that you can, you kind of have to be at peace with your situation. There's nothing more you can do. Well, as soon as Beth had that new peace, that credit card debt collector called again, because they had been calling once or twice a week, always asking the same questions, getting the same answers, and then giving Beth the same lecture about paying her bills. But this time, Beth changed her answer. And here's what she said. She said, "I'm sorry, but there is no change in my circumstances. I'm not sure when I can get current. I know you are just doing your job, but I can't do anything more than what I am doing. And the stress has been affecting my physical well-being. I'm not trying to be evasive. As soon as I can, I will get current. In the meantime, I can't let this ruin my health. I'm not willing to have a heart attack wondering when I can pay you." Then there was silence on the other end of the line. And then Beth heard the woman say, "Good for you. It's not worth dying for. Of course, I'm still going to have to keep calling you." And somehow that exchange was a lot less stressful for Beth. So Beth's sister did pass away 12 weeks after her diagnosis. and Beth still had some pain from the car accident, and her financial problems did continue for a while. But she had a new outlook. She asked herself whether she was doing the best that she could. And when the answer was yes, as it always was, she remained at peace with her circumstances. I'm Amy Newmark. Thank you for listening to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast today. If you want to learn more about the book I mentioned today, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Say Goodbye to Stress, please go to our website, chickensoup.com. And if you want to hear more about these upcoming books that are giving me my own stress, follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @AmyNewmark. Now, tomorrow's Friend Friday, and we're going to have a back-to-school conversation with one of the most applauded teachers in the country, Alex Kajitani, who was the California Teacher of the Year and is an expert on school bullying.